Okay, I think that's long enough to try to see if this thing's gonna be stable. We're making a website. I don't know what that's gonna look like yet, so I guess we should just get into this. Oh, that looks so cool! That's what's about to happen. It's hacking time. Yeah, baby, we got it. Okay, so how's it going, everybody? We are in a new studio. We haven't been on stream now for like 2 months, you know? So anyways, we have this series of events happen since the last stream, and the last stream was like in December. And we kind of came online and said, hey, we're hiring people. We're going to start a content studio, which, boom, there's the office. And if you guys want to say hi, Rob and Zach working in the office. And so you can see we have a real office. It's got a whiteboard and a couch. So I think we did it, guys. We actually set the office up. Just pop out of this so I can let them do whatever they're gonna do. You know, watch porn or whatever it is they do when they're working. Working. So I guess a lot of things happened. So if I was gonna just draw a little timeline, right? So like this. Oh, this is gonna be bad. I should probably use the text tool to type things. That's how you spell December, right? December. What we did here is we started the business. Oh, don't do that, Greg. Why would you start typing and then start drawing your typing? And what we did is we basically broke a business unit off from the Omentum Inc. and started Omentum Studios. Now, when we started this, it was actually a really interesting thing that happened. We had found some people that were equally as excited to do this as we were, and we got 2 partners. They were basically going to focus on growth and marketing, and the plan was that we would build software like we've been doing for 200 or 300 streams that we've done, and then these guys would come in and help make sure that we made good videos. I guess I don't really know what they're going to do. They're going to sell the software basically. The process would be more like robust than it was. So we got that, and we started a hiring process. So that was December. Everything was looking really good in December. In January, first of all, Myriad Pro, I don't think so. Let's find a better font. Let's just do Gotham Book. That's the one that'll get us sued. There we go. So then January comes around, and we are finalizing partnership terms with these guys, spending a lot of time on the phone going over legal stuff and operating agreements and all this stuff. So on our end, what we did was we bought a house for the studio. Now the cool thing about where this house is, I live in a neighborhood, let's just say it looks like this, and my house is here, and then there's like a road that's just like, you call it a road, it's not really a road, and then another road and another road, and the studio is right here. Maybe it's like 500 feet away from my house. So I walk to work every day. It's awesome. What happened to my my family and my kid? They're still around, but they stay in the other house, and I get to go to work and not have to be in the house with them and feel selfish. But they're doing fine, man. They're doing fine. So it's definitely like real developer life. We have 3 bedrooms right here, I think, and we haven't really done anything with the other 2, but we did this room. As you can see, I've got books behind me. That makes me feel like I know stuff. And we converted this whole downstairs room into a real studio. I mean, I've got like 9 lights in here, and I've got a better camera right there. We basically built out the whole thing. Like those guys out in the other room, this place looked like grandma's house, and we did all the walls up there and installed stuff, and we put that wall decal in, which was probably the most important thing we did. Yep, that one. And it just brings the whole room together. So yeah, it's kind of cool. But the upstairs is just my wife has turned it into secondary storage for the house, and this is full of a bunch of Sterilite containers. And eventually we'll get around to putting a gym up there and some bunk beds and stuff like that, so we can just live here. And sorry if I'm a little scattered today. This is a very undirection filled stream. I just wanted to catch up with all you guys, you know. So February comes around, and in February we built out the studio. So for pretty much the whole month, we were building out the studio and essentially like finalizing stuff with the partners. And when we got through, I mean, they wanted to be 50-50, which means like they would pick up half the expenses for the whole company. Obviously they own half the profits too, but that was the deal. So we were really trying to figure out how this would work and who would be in control of certain aspects of the business. And it kind of shook out that like we would have creative decisions kind of be a round table, and then operations stuff was on me, you know. All this time, there's another thing going on in the background. If you remember back in December, we were working on Duranki, which was called MAGA, but for, I think, fairly obvious reasons, we didn't want to keep calling it MAGA. Because apparently there's some dude that like used that phrase and it just didn't work right. So we changed the name to Duranki, which was a weird name to pivot it into, but that's what we came up with. And Duranki was this word that meant like the binding place of heaven and earth. Boom. And we did some logos for it. We started rebranding and the whole deal. So anyways, we get this big shift happening, and in the background, we're trying to get a developer to work on the Nanobox stuff. I mean, I think if you guys were around for when we started on Nanobox, we kind of figured out like, hey, this is a lot of code that we're going to bolt a nice front end onto, and then we're going to find somebody else to take care of the back end stuff. So we get this whole thing figured out. And the guy we lined up, who was the most ideal guy we could have lined up, he didn't work out at all. So right around January, we found that out. I'd paid him in the end of December. And throughout all of January, I'm just hoping he's doing his work. And by February 1st, he wasn't working out. So we're also in February figuring out what to work on. So we're really just like we're trying to figure out something. And we came up with some horrible ideas. A COVID app. Because if you remember, February was the beginning of this whole crazy thing that's going on. What we kind of came to the conclusion of was like we could make an app for COVID. We were a little late to the table though. So when we started scoping it, we were like, well, that's, you know, taking advantage of this thing. I don't know what we can add. Right. And Demon Wolf, let's make money on the virus. No, let's not do that. Right. Like, let's just leave this alone. And I didn't want to create a space where we would make our whole stream just about what's going on with this plague that's going around. It's a plague. You don't get to say that many times in your life. So that one was a no. We looked at Duranki, and we were really keen on this. And so we did a lot of analysis on it, and we said, this is our strongest product. So Duranki got a yes, but we need to hire. Oh, that's how that looks good. Thanks, Illustrator. So we were looking to line up a back-end developer, like a really good back-end developer. There's a price tag associated with that, right? You're not getting a junior, but typically you want to find somebody who's like, yeah, I've got 15 years on the job experience in the languages that you guys want to use. So I sold this to my partners and I said, look, this is the guy we need if we want to keep going forward on this. And we got ready to hire them. The range I had for this hire was $80K to $160K. And that's a crazy amount of money. Like $80,000 a year, that's not bad. $160,000 a year? That's expensive. That was our big thing. We were going to move forward with that. We had a couple other ideas, like we had an expense tracker app. That was a big no because nobody's really spending money right now. And we had a media app, which was a maybe. And the reason it was a maybe is because we don't think it's going to make a lot of money. It's just a good tool that the market needs. But it just became a maybe. It's an easy one to build. So this Duranki app was the one, but it had this huge price tag associated with it. So if you think about that, like in monthly terms, it's like $7,000 to, I don't know, $14,000 per month extra, plus, 10% more for the tax man, because we're a legit business and we have to pay taxes, right? So that's February, and obviously COVID happens. And in the beginning of March, COVID financial crisis starts. So I'm not sure how many of you guys were affected by this. If you had money on the stock market, it evaporated. Like 40%, 30% of the money disappeared, just like that. And you know who has money on the stock market? Most companies. Most startup companies keep their money in the market in some way, shape, or form. So that COVID financial crisis tanked my partner's business. It completely tanked it. And I don't want to get into it too much. I don't think you guys know who they are. So I just want to make sure we don't put them on blast or anything like that. I don't think I've ever identified them on stream. So they pulled out. And with that went 50% of the anticipated funding. We're still okay. We saved up. So at this point in March, we're basically just, we onboarded 2 guys. Let's go see them again. There they are. We bought all that equipment that you see, and that's not like scrub equipment. Brand new AMD 3950s, 60 gigs of RAM in each system, NVMEs and all this kind of crap. We have a server in the closet that's like as tall as I am. We really tried to set the business up to be like as good as it could get. Like everything that we would need to run a media company, plus have desks for developers and all that stuff if we needed them. So we onboard 2 guys, during all this stuff. And that's sort of the situation we ended up in March. So it's interesting. Was it cheaper to get a house than a WeWork office? Yeah. Buying a house was so cheap in comparison. It was just like a smart decision, I think, to get one. You get a bathroom, you get a shower, you can take private poops. We have 3 bathrooms here. Everybody gets their own poop bathroom. It's amazing. So in March, we onboarded the 2 guys and we started getting the real business set up, like the real end. So the 2 guys that are in the other room is it's Zach and Rob, and in the past month or so, during the month of March, they've done an amazing job of orienting to the new position. They did an edit, which you can see on our YouTube channel. So if you want to see our YouTube, I'm going to post a link in here. Don't watch it right now though. And you can see like it was amazing. They were able to cut down almost 11-hour long stream to like an hour. And I think it's awesome. It feels cool. And I think they did a great job. So they're getting oriented to this whole thing. Meanwhile, I'm like, okay, we're a business that's making software plus making content. Zach and Rob cover the content stuff. I have to make the software. So coming back to this whole thing here, Duranke's off the table now. COVID's off the table. The expense tracker's off the table. And that really left us with the media app. And then we came up with a list after that. So right about here, as we move into April, we decided it's time to start doing this stuff again, right? Like we have to get started again. Like we just have to. We have to just jump into it. This is like the worst time you can have a business. It is the worst time to start a business. But luckily, Florida State and all of their let's just see. Florida State, what is that? What's the word? Oh, the prison's the first thing. So there's just this big list of like, here's what's essential in Florida. Here we go. All of these things are essential in Florida. All of them. So we are under lockdown here, but we are a media company, so we are considered essential. So these guys have little hall passes. It's just so crazy to me. Like all these things. Open construction sites. Yeah, just let all these guys do that. I want to show you what Jacksonville, Florida looks like. Let's see if I can find this video that we were watching the other day and just being like, Jacksonville. Here it is. This is Jacksonville on Sunday. Just go about your life. Just drive around on your bicycle shirtless. No problem. And even this guy filming, you're like, dude, you're in the wake of these people's breaths, right? Like you're just right behind Coffee McGee and Hatface over here. And this is just, these guys are just insane to me. I think Jacksonville might not be through this yet, but I mean, who knows? Hopefully it is. So in April, midst of this whole thing, we just decided we're going to start doing this. Oh, and can we just be real about this? March was like a year, right? Like it really, I don't know if that was the thing that anybody else felt, but holy crap. I just could not believe how long March felt. So here we are in April. So what we're going to do in April is we need to pick a project, and we need that project to be done quickly. Oh, and what's the other thing we did? We published our first content. Woo, 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 woo.